Hello folks, so welcome to our review of One Piece chapter 1056. We get sprinkles of huge information in this chapter and setup right off the bat, and it looks like we've got a collaboration on a couple of weekly Shonen Jump, but I'm not too sure if it's like a shout out to Wano because everybody involved is like wearing kimonos. Like you got Luffy in the center eating noodles, so if that's a shout out to Wano, that's actually pretty cool. Especially with this chapter, you can feel like finally, after 4 years, the Straw Hats are ready to disembark and leave Wano and set sail elsewhere. So, also, we got the second of, I guess, 3 pages that we're going to get to Uta-chan and her connection to Shanks. Because literally, it starts off with Uta-chan waking up and thinking about the time that Shanks saved them. Because we know it's Shanks because of the silhouettes, but we see the pirates that possibly set fire to that village. We see Uta on during the trailer, so that's actually pretty cool. She's staring out into the window and she's rummaging and she's thinking about Shanks. And if you notice, Uta's following Shanks, and you got Lucky Roo in the background, so that's actually pretty funny in silhouette. The next panel, she's literally rummaging through the rubbish, finding a letter that either she wrote or somebody else wrote because it's sort of torn up. And then she writes a fresh note saying, "Let's have faith in our trust. I can hold on as long as I must. Until again we meet outside a dream." Now, are those lyrics? Possibly, but I feel like that's going to be important information as we head into One Piece Film Red, the movie, pretty soon. Then I see the cover page, and immediately from the word jump, my attention's hooked because it's literally Oven and yes, Katakuri finally revealed in the cover page, about to attack the Vinsmokes, Yonji, Niji, Ichiji and Reiju being about to be attacked by Katakuri and Oven. Although I don't see Judge, so I'm pretty sure he's going to make an appearance because this is all about the Vinsmokes escaping. And the more I thought about this cover page, the more I think, where are the rest of the Big Mom Pirates? You know, the Big Mom Pirates that went to Wano alongside Big Mom? Where are they at? We start off at the Flower Capital and we see that Raizo and Shinobu pretty much mummified thanks to Green Bull's abilities, but they're alive. And we see Kinemon, and he's like, "It's my fault. I should have been there." And I mentioned how I forgot that I didn't see Okiku with the rest of the Scabbards. I also didn't see Kinemon, and I realized that after reading this chapter. So wait, where the hell was Kinemon? So he was in Curry, and it actually explains this, but it kind of cuts it off because he actually met up with Suru, which is pretty cool. We find out she's alive, and she got burnt, but she's alive. So Oda decides to skip that reunion. But it looks like Asuru's going to move into the Flower Capital because she's asked, "Hey, you have any plans to move in the capital alongside Kinemon?" And Asuru's like, "Yeah," because I'm pretty sure Kinemon's going to be tied up there since Momonosuke is the new shogun. So yeah, so that's actually pretty cool. Comedic relief in that where Kinemon's complimenting, "Oh, she's so beautiful for all this time." Inuyasha looks annoyed by this. Nekomamushi just doesn't care. He's like, "Meow, meow." And then Kiku's like, "Oh, that's actually wonderful, Kin-san." So we shut off to Carrot, who's munching after the festival, but it's actually turned into a pretty serious moment because it looks like Inuyasha appointed Carrot to be the new leader of Zou because it looks like Nekomamushi and Inuyasha are both staying on Wano, which is actually pretty cool because it's like them handing the baton over to the next generation. In this case, it's Carrot. So you're going to be in charge of Zou from now on, which technically speaking, hasn't Zou already left? Zunisha already left. So I just thought that was weird. But it is pretty cool that Carrot is in charge. And she immediately Carrot's like, "Hey, there's more minks out there that are stronger than me." And the 3 Musketeers show up and they're like, "True enough, but we're here to back you up." So they're going to be supporting Carrot. And also Wanda supports this. So I'm going to be by your side always. And the Dukes always choose wisely. Now, even though I like this moment because it's pretty cool for Carrot because it makes sense narratively speaking, I feel like I literally think it's Oda throwing a bone to Carrot because considering the build up she was been getting before Wano Act 3, she should have been the one to take down Perospero. I still believe that even though it didn't happen. Oda kind of making up for that with Oda having Carrot in this role. Narratively speaking, it makes perfect sense because she was close. As they stated, she was closer to Pedro than anyone. So it's literally the new generation living on through Carrot. It's the spirit of Pedro living on through Carrot. So she's going to be representing the new generation, leading Zoe and the Minx to see that new dawn. So that's what that was. However, what we saw, I think, like, is Oda forgetting that it was Nekomamushi that pretty much dealt with Perospero and not Carrot. If Carrot had dealt with Perospero, okay, yeah. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? It's cool on one half, but in the same, I can't help but feel, is this Oda throwing literally a carrot? But like I said, Zunisha's on the move, and we know we'll probably see Zunisha again. We kind of have to, considering how this chapter went. Then we get another reunion with Sukiyaki reuniting with Hiyori and Momonosuke, which is actually pretty cool, even though Robin asked Sukiyaki, hey, aren't you going to tell Momo about this? Like, you're alive? And Sukiyaki's like, no, I have no right to meet him. That changed pretty quickly, because here we are with the reunion. It is pretty cool, because now they're able to live in peace. And the Scabbers are freaked out. But the expression on Kinemon's face is hilarious, but it's pretty cool. Speaking of Robin, we move on to back at the Flower Capital. Robin's telling Frankie about the Pluton being in Wano. Although they don't get to see it, Robin makes that very clear. Then the question is asked, why would Oda want to unleash it? So, the pace of this chapter flew by real quick. I'm not going to lie. So, the Straw Hats are all together again. That's pretty cool. I'm wondering if they had the banquet, because we haven't seen that yet. Or if it's coming pretty soon to induct Jinbei. We haven't seen that yet, unless Oda's literally going to skip that too. But we see Shinobu along with Otama. Otama looking like a mini-me of Nami, so that's actually pretty cool because of her outfit. Otama's literally about to be hugged by Nami, and so that's actually pretty cool. What the hell happened to Shinobu? So, was Greenbow responsible for that, or did she use a transformation jutsu or something? Because she literally looks like she looked back in the Odin flashback, which should not be the case considering how we see Shinobu nowadays. So, that's one of two things that could have happened. So, either way, it looks like Shinobu is going to be the one to train Otama. And we know that Speed is also going to be serving as a motherly figure to Otama as well. I like how Otama's like, hey, big bro, you think I can get strong? I'm going to be Shinobu's apprentice. And Luffy's like, yeah, just keep on your jutsu training. So that's actually pretty cool. So it looks like Otama's going to be training until she wants to join Luffy, which is a complete parallel to what we saw with Ace. Then immediately it cuts into one of the biggest parts of the chapter, in my opinion, which is going to get completely overlooked. So we see that Caribou is also eavesdropping on this conversation, and it's obviously a callback to what happened in Fishman Island when before Robin was talking with King Neptune about Poseidon, and that Shirahoshi was the ancient weapon Poseidon. So now Caribou yet again is eavesdropping on the fact that Pluton is in Wano. Now, unlike then, he was like, we thought he was trying to discover it for himself, that he might spill the beans to someone else. It looks like he's like, there's someone out there who would love to hear about this. I can only assume it's Blackbeard, because who else? That could be kind of interesting. I actually appreciate Oda for this, because it's like a few days pass and we see Momonosuke. He's looking for the rest of the Straw Hats, because he's like asking Zoro, hey, can you teach me some sword techniques? By the way, speaking of mysteries about Wano, like, obviously he tied up the reconnecting of Osuru and Kinemon right off screen. Are we going to get like Zoro seeing Ryuma's grave? Is that going to be skipped too? Because wow, looks like some of the stuff that Oda wanted to do isn't going to happen, because Oda has to like amp up the pacing. The Straw Hats are gone from Flower Capital and they're ready to disembark, but they have to load up first, which is important. We also see that Kinemon just found out as well that they said the goodbyes to Genja and the others, but not us, which I thought is really weird. But actually, the more I thought about it, it makes perfect sense, because it looks like we're going to get a Alabasta 2.0 moment with the Straw Hats saying goodbye. Because there's no way the Straw Hats are leaving and not saying farewell to Momonosuke and Kinemon. It could be because of what happened with the Admiral, that they don't want to say the goodbyes, because it will put them to... If someone accidentally sees them, it will put them under scrutiny, which is a similar situation that happened with Vivi. Speaking of which, it looks like the Straw Hats are going to find out what happened with Vivi, because we see Law have a log post, and the direction, the three needles are pointing in opposite directions to the east, which is important. So Kid Law and Luffy are like pointing a needle out to grab where they're heading, because obviously they can't stay together, because obviously they need to find the One Piece, so they can't be together, which I said in the previous chapter how long it would be until we saw Law again. So that was probably the last Law Robin moment we're going to get for a while. They're going to the east, but the only interpretation I could make of this is like Kid and Luffy said the Middle East and Law said the Northeast. Now Law said he's going to head into the north because it's the most direct route. Now I love how Luffy's like, hey, I'm the Emperor. I'm not too sure what that has to do with putting in the directions of where they're going. Usopp has a pretty funny moment, so it's like, hey, who cares? They're all dangerous, so help us out, Luffy. So they're loading up and they're not setting sail yet. So I think that's important. Plus, they don't cut away. And considering the end of this chapter, I'm thinking, Yamato, you better hurry. The Straw Hat's on the verge of leaving, but it's like, no, they need to load up and then set sail. And Kid and Law also have to do the same. Then we get probably my favourite moment of the entire chapter, because Kid like, you guys are an eyesore, you're a bother. But the one that pisses me off the most is this guy, and it gives us a picture of Buggy, and if you look, it's a cross guild, and we see Mihawk and Crocodile. And Luffy's like, whoa, what the hell? So, and Kid's like, they're both working on the Buggy, and I'm like, oh boy. Buggy not only is an emperor, but he just made huge gains and snatched a huge coup, because Mihawk and Crocodile on the same side, like, oh boy. And even Zoro's like, wait, I can't imagine Mihawk doing that. So something's up, and it looks like it's going to be setting the story where it goes next. Law has no idea about Buggy, because it's like, if he's capable of commanding men like this, then he's definitely worthy of a new emperor. I'm like, no. And look, Luffy, I like this, calls this out. It's like, no, this guy's just a scrub. Like, trust me, he's a moron. And he's like, what the heck happened? Whatever it was, it seems like the Cross Guild of is issuing bounties on Marines. So, wow. So, and I'm like, wow. No wonder that Green Bull was freaking out. No wonder the Gorosei and Alkainu was freaking out, because now the bounty's on their heads. And Kid's like, oh boy, the hunters have become the hunted, so put bounties on Marines' heads. So could he do that with the admirals though? Because I feel like that would be kind of a suicide mission if he did that. This just ties up what I said a while back. I actually made a theory about it, a prediction about this, that the Shichibukai, the ex-Shichibukai, now there's no warlord system, would actually team up because they're being targeted. Now, I didn't think it would be because of Buggy, because I thought he was actually joining up, but he's actually the leader of this, and it makes perfect sense, naturally speaking. I don't know if Bo Hancock's going to be a part of this, or Doflamingo. Maybe the Weevil, Whitebeard Jr., because he was also being targeted. So, narratively speaking, it makes perfect sense. Considering what Law said back in Punk Hazard, you either work under a Yonko or you try and take him out. They've done that with Big Mom and Kaido, but there's still two Yonko out there, and now Luffy and Buggy are a Yonko. And this must be the first time that Luffy's actually addressed himself as an emperor. So, because that's not something Luffy usually does. But it's just him trying to respond to like Kid. But it's like, this is no joke. Like Crocodile and Mihawk on the same team. You know, obviously we know the reason why. It's because he needs as much protection as humanly possible. Although I thought it was going to be Buggy joining up with Shanks. That would be kind of crazy if that happened. So, but it is pretty cool. Buggy leading the charge. Probably the biggest indicator of where the story heads next, because Kid is like, hey, sounds like the world has really changed while we were in this isolated country. It's every man for himself. We leave Wano. That's it. So we know they're heading in separate ways, even though it looks like Kid and Luffy are heading in the Middle East and Law's heading in the Northeast, like I mentioned. But there has to be a reason for all that. So they're definitely going to meet up again. I like how Law just casually gives Kid the copies of the raw poneglyph that he and Robin found in the previous chapter. So that was actually pretty cool. Hey, it'd be kind of unfair and unsported of me if I didn't give you a heads up. So that's actually really cool on Law's part. It keeps Kid in the race, and we find out that Kid actually made copies of the raw poneglyph back in Whole Cake Island by getting information from a Yonko commander. Now, they don't say which of the Sweet Commanders on the Big Mom they got that information from. It couldn't have been Katakuri, because I don't think, one, he's too loyal and too broken. I don't think Smoothie would do that either, so it has to be Cracker, right? Because who else would it be? But that's actually pretty cool, we found that out. But the most important part is, like, So Killer's actually pointing out, hey, if we want to scramble for the One Piece, we ought to get serious about that guy. Hey, you want to go after the man marked by flames? But we've got no leads. And they could only be talking about Sabo because Luffy and Robin also taking notice about that comment, because Luffy's like, hey, marked by flames, what are you talking about? Robin doesn't say anything, but she looks interesting. It could only be Sabo, right? Flame Emperor. So if that's who Kid's going after, because he's like teasing Luffy about this. Oh, you don't know? I guess I was one step ahead of you. Too bad. He's obviously going to say something because it has to involve where the story goes next after Wano. So that could be interesting. And the reason for it is because the Straw Hats are going to find out one way or another about what happened with Vivi and King Cobra, and the fact, obviously Luffy's going to call out the bullshit because we know Sabo's not the one that killed him. He's going to get severely pissed off. They're framing Sabo, and we know how Luffy feels about that. So I can definitely see Luffy and maybe Robin getting pissed off about that, because they both know Sabo well enough to know he wouldn't do that. So I can't wait to see the reaction once Kid does spill the beans. But then it ends the chapter with Yamato on the roof, because Momonosuke and Kinemon are also looking for Yamato. It says, hey, are you gone too? And Yamato's like, no, not yet. So Yamato knows the Straw Hats have left, but she's staying on the roof. But she's made up her mind. So Yamato's like, I've made my mind up. I'm going. I'm setting sail to live like Odin, which is pretty cool. And there was no way that wasn't going to happen. It was pretty much confirmed in the last chapter with Momonosuke's speech. Wasn't Yamato looking to leave Wano anyway? But I think it's because of what Momonosuke said, because if they're not capable of protecting Wano while Yamato's away, Yamato won't leave. Back when she's chained up, she couldn't leave because of the threat of Kaido. But now she can leave because she can trust the Scabbards and Momonosuke to keep Wano safe. So that's actually pretty cool and a very underrated moment. But, like I said earlier, she needs to hurry, because if she's going to join the Straw Hats, says she's about to head over to where Luffy's at. Better hurry. But the more I thought about it, it's like, no, there's still some loose ends to tie up. Like I said, I think Momonosuke and Kinemon are going to follow, because there's no way after all that interaction with those two, along with the Straw Hats, Oda's not going to end Wano and not have the Straw Hats say goodbye in, like I said, an Alabasta 2.0 moment. So they're definitely going to follow Yamato and say goodbye to Luffy and co. We're definitely going back to Wano at some point because of the Ancient Weapon Pluton, considering they couldn't find out where that was. So yeah, and the borders of Wano need to be open. Plus, the narrator did say that Momonosuke is going to lead to become the greatest shogun of all time in Wano's history. So we need to see that later down the road. Not too soon, but we're probably going to see that towards the finale. Yamato is setting sail. Will she become a Nakama or won't she? That question will be answered hopefully in the next chapter. Is Oda really going to cut the banquet, the biggest banquet to induct Jinbei? Unless that's already happened. That was off screen. We haven't seen that. After all that hype, and I get it, Oda can't showcase everything because he needs to amp up the pacing. But come on, that was a big hyped up moment that should not be ignored. It's an induction of a new crew member. Whether or not Yamato becomes a Nakama, I know everybody wants her to join. I do too, but at the end of the day, it's down to Luffy and Oda. Can't wait to see what happens next. Like I said, great informative chapter. End Wano possibly in the next chapter. We'll see. We'll see. So that's going to do it for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below. Like the review if you did. A thumbs up. I appreciate that. Subscribe to have more One Piece. Catch you guys later. Thanks, guys. Bye.